Hi there, welcome to the national debates here at the Debate Circle. I'll be your host, Waya Jeffrey. With climate change thought to be at the heart of it all, we dive deeper into the morphology of our water zones and the problems associated with it as we dissect the motion that states climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. Proposing this motion, we have Kangaru High School, while opposing this motion, we have Makueni Girls. All the best to the two teams on stage. First speaker team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and our esteemed judges, my name is Jacob Miner from the Kangaru School, here to propose the motion of utmost importance that climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. For a fact, climate change undoubtedly has a lot of effects to the marine environment, one of them being rising of sea levels. Number 2 is ocean acidification and many others. I'll be taking you through these points and hopefully you'll be able to see the fact that climate change is the single most dangerous. Number 1, as I said, we have the rising of sea levels. Climate change. A research by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has stated that the global sea levels are rising at an accelerated rate due to climate change. This is due to the melting of polar ice caps, thermal expansion of water. And as I go on and define climate change, this being the alteration of temperatures and weather patterns of a place, meaning that with climate change, temperatures increase, meaning there will be thermal expansion of water and there will be melting of polar ice caps, meaning that the rising of the sea levels due to climate change is due to the thermal expansion of water and melting of polar ice caps. As I mentioned, the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has come up with a report that globally the sea levels are rising at approximately 3.3 meters each yearly over the past 2 decades, meaning there's a risk to vital coastal habitats, meaning we have mangroves at risk, seagrass beds at risk, we have our beautiful beaches at Lamu at risk. A real life example is Lamu. Lamu has already been experiencing these effects of the rising of sea levels. Lamu has experienced the disappearance of its coral reefs. It has experienced the disappearance of its beautiful beaches, the disappearance of its vital marine habitats, mangroves. These mangroves hold a huge potential to the marine biodiversity, meaning mangroves, what is this huge potential am I talking about? Mangroves provide food for an array of wildlife in the coast. It also provides a nursery habitat for small fish and shellfish, of which these fish and these shellfish are of economically importance to the communities at the coast. Meaning that you're not only affecting the marine animals, you're also affecting the communities living at the coast. This climate change is has a huge effect on these 2 things. Also, climate change is driving the accelerated release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It was a threat, leading to ocean acidification. When this CO2 reacts with the ocean water, it forms carbonic acid, weak carbonic acid, which leads to the bleaching of the coral reefs, meaning that our coral reefs are in danger due to climate change. I need us to take it in hand and fight climate change. Thank you.
First speaker team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
In the sea of opinions, let us navigate to the compass of reason. My name is Rachel Maweu from the Great Makueni Girls, here to strongly oppose the motion that states climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. Well, allow me to begin by expounding the key terms of this motion. What is climate change? According to United Nations, climate change are the long-term shifts in temperatures and in weather patterns, mainly caused by human activities. What's marine environment? According to UNEP, it refers to salty water environments of the seas and oceans. It also consists of all living and non-living things that are influenced by these bodies of water. We recognize the fact that climate change is a global threat. However, we need to see beyond the sea in the realm of this motion. The single most dangerous threat to marine environment in Kenya is human activities and not climate change. Well, on to my first submission, overfishing. I believe we all know that overfishing is a human activity. But do you know it's a threat to the marine life species? You might ask, how? Well, it causes depletion of fish stocks. And according to Conserve Energy Future website, overfishing has impacted over 85%, mark that, over 85% of the world's fish resources, and it also led to fisheries being fished far beyond the sustainable capacity. And what did this lead to? Violating SDG number 14 that deals with life below water. The ocean is like a checking account where everybody withdraws, but nobody ever cares to make a deposit. This is happening due to overfishing. Well, this is as reported by Kenya Marine Fisheries Research Institute. On to my second submission, illegal fishing. According to World Wildlife Fund, there have been 379 and 213 incidents of illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing in the year 2020 and 2021, respectively. How did this affect marine species? Well, it diminished the varied supply of fish that the coastal communities had depended on for food and also for their livelihood. This is too bad. Why? Because it violated SDG number 1 that deals with hunger, number 2 that deals with poverty, and number 8 that deals with economic development. What are the solutions to this? The government should regulate overfishing, and it should also sensitize people and enforce strict rules to control illegal fishing. This should clear any iota of doubts that human activities have direct and immediate impacts on marine environment. And just a reminder, when solving your problems, you should learn to dig at the roots and not just hacking at the leaves. With this, I tap out. Thank you.
Second speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Hallelujah. Today, allow me, James Wally from the non-Kangaru school, to open your eyes. And you, as the three Bartimaeus, I'll heal you and let you see the clear truth. I strongly propose the motion that states climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. Why am I saying this? According to the motion, it talks about the single most dangerous threat. Yes, I can't deny. Human activities have affected the marine life. But what is the most dangerous threat? Climate change. Why am I saying this? As my fellow opposers have stated, there's ocean acidification. This is caused by the combination of carbon dioxide with the seawater to form weak carbonic acid. Do you know the effects of this carbonic acid? Let me give you one. It causes lack of oxygen in the ocean, which means there'll be suffocation of fish because the fish rely on oxygen to live. It's their respiratory gas. What happens if there's lack of oxygen? They die. If the fish die, where will you get the fish that you enjoy eating with ugali? Please think about that. Also, the carbonic acid reduces calcium carbonate, which is used by fish to strengthen their bones and their shells. This will make the fish weak, reducing the fish population. Also, I like to add one thing. It has increased the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. I'll give an example. Cyclone Gati. This was the strongest storm ever experienced in the West Indian Ocean, just on our coasts. It destroyed many homes, killed many. You mean you're just going to sit down and say, okay, so it's not climate change. It's human activities. Yet there are people who are dying, losing lives. How would you feel if your brother or your parent dies just because of a storm? A single storm that could have been prevented. A single storm that was caused by climate change. Open your eyes and have mercy on the people. Also, as I have stated, there are threats to marine biodiversity and fisheries. Why am I saying this? Kenya's marine fisheries support the livelihoods of thousands of coastal communities. However, warming waters have caused migration of certain fish species away from the traditional fishing grounds. What am I saying? I'm saying that due to climate change, it has increased the temperatures in the waters. Obviously, you as a human being, when there's high temperatures, you see that it's uncomfortable for you. You'll either use an air conditioner or a fan. Well, for fish, they move to cooler waters. What happens? There'll be no fish left for the people who are going to fish there. Think about a fisherman who gets his livelihood from the fishing. What will happen to him? He'll lose everything that he gains because he depends on that fishing. Please, have mercy on these people. Thank you.
Second speaker, team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
It's getting fishy here, but I'm about to fish you out from the deep waters. In the depth of this discourse, let us uncover the pearls of the wisdom hidden within differing viewpoints. Now, our opponents here have spoken of ocean acidification, clearly caused by emissions of carbon dioxide. But what these fellas have forgotten to tell us is emissions of carbon dioxide are caused by human activities. And human activities such as what you may be asking, banning of fossil fuels, emissions of carbon dioxide by vehicles, to mention a few among others. They have also said that humans are affected by storms, but I believe the motion is talking of marine environment. Or am I mistaken? I believe I'm not. My name is Serena Kiteko from Makueni Girls High School, here to oppose the motion that states climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment. I will begin with oil spillage. You want to tell me you are not cognizant with the oil spillage at Kipevu Diesel Power Station in 2012, where at least 10,000 liters of oil soaked the beaches and destroyed all the marine life near the port of Mombasa. Tell me, is this climate change? Really? No, it isn't, but a human activity. Human activity is the pebble in the marine environment shoe. And are you aware that marine bodies are suffering due to deliberate dumping by humans? If you're not aware, I have informed you, which wreaks unparalleled havoc to marine biodiversity, which takes me to my second point, marine dumping, which degrades important habitat for aquatic species. You might be asking, what is the cause of this? Well, it violates SDG number 14, life below water. And according to UNEP, plastics and microplastics are checking our marine environment, and plastisphere is a new term that is finding its way in marine pollution. And a study published in the journal Science found that 99% of seabirds detected in a major Pacific perch were eating pieces of plastic. Seriously, our marine environment feeding on plastic instead of food. This is very sad. We should curb these problems called human activity. One of the marine ecosystem is tempered with the ripple effects, bearing severe and might translate to SDG number 1, no poverty, number 2, zero hunger, number 8, decent work and economic growth, number 10, reduced inequalities. And as Brandon Trin puts it, if our minds are not working on solutions, we have just become another problem. Creating awareness on the impacts of human activities on marine pollution will mitigate the whole affair. I rest my case.
Third speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Beautiful yet delusional seems to be the opposition's motto today. But worry not, for I, Sajad Nazar, a knight in shining armor from Kangaru School, shall save these damsels in distress from their tower of lies. Well, we're not saying that there aren't other factors affecting our marine environment. We're just saying that climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. The most severe threat. No other threat comes as close as no other factor comes as close as this to damage our marine environment in Kenya. Well, I am here. Well, you've all heard about the effects of climate change on our marine environment in Kenya, right? Well, I am here not to dwell on that too much, but to give solutions, as you asked for, solutions towards solving this issue, this problem that we have. Well, On to my first solution is establishing marine protected areas. What these do is that they not only provide sanctuaries for damaged marine species, but they also help them to recover and thrive. Also, they act as vital habitats. They protect vital habitats such as coral reef and seagrass beds. On to my second solution, to restore our beautiful mangrove forest. These plants are crucial to the marine environment in Kenya. You see, what mangroves do is that they prevent soil erosion, act as buffers against storm surges, provide nurseries for juvenile fish, and sequester carbon dioxide, that is combating climate change. Another one is promoting the use of renewable energy. Well, renewable energy such as solar panels, wind turbines, hydroelectric power, and by the use of biogas don't emit greenhouse gases that cause climate change. You can't tell me that you won't consider these solutions over solutions, that you will not consider these solutions over solutions such as the use of coal, petrol, and kerosene that causes climate change, thus endangering our beautiful marine environment. Another solution is hosting educational campaigns. See, platforms such as the debate circle can be used to explain about the effects of climate change and give out solutions, as I am doing right now. Another platform for this can be chief barazas and community outreach programs. You see, once you raise awareness about the effects of climate change on the marine environment in Kenya, you will foster a sense of responsibility in the one who is listening towards your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Do you not feel guilty for murdering our marine environment in Kenya? I would. Well, another thing we could establish is having climate change adaptations. These climate change adaptations are to solving issues such as rising sea levels and extreme weather events and ocean acidification. This can be done through building seawalls and relocating towards higher ground. We can engage local communities and develop resilience plans to cope with climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, I have cast out my rod, and all I'm waiting is for you to get hooked onto the truth, and thus you can call me the fisherman.
Third speaker, team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Our opponents here are feeding us with pretty lies, claiming that climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. Truly, my opponents here are destroyed by lack of knowledge, because if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. That is why I, Michelle Mbete from the Makueni Girls, is here to feed you with the knowledge that you lack. You have told us about that storm. You have said that it could have been prevented, you say. How? How can you prevent nature changes from happening? You can't possibly do that unless you're our Jesus, I believe. Climate change occurs for a certain period, but our human activities occur daily. You feel me? I believe you feel me. On to my first point, agriculture. Agriculture threatens marine environment. How does agriculture pose as a threat to marine environment? Well, according to UNEP, 25th June 2021, pollution from farming and harbors imperil coastal habitats. How? By runoff and pollution. Excess fertilizers and pesticides and manures from agricultural fields can find their way into the ocean and eventually cause nutrient pollution. Agricultural chemicals such as herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, name them all, can also enter our water bodies and harm marine organisms directly and indirectly, impacting the food chain and the ecosystem balance, affecting the SDG number 14, life below water. And what is our solution to this problem? To mitigate these threats, sustainable agricultural practices and improvement of land use management are essential to protect marine environment and its delicate balance. On to my second point, shipping and maritime activities. The increase in global and transportation due to industrialization has led to the higher ship traffic and potential spills of hazardous materials. Let me tell you a story, and here's the evidence. According to Swaddle, a cargo ship was carrying hazardous chemicals and plastic goods, caught fire along the Sri Lankan coast on May 20th, 2021, and has triggered massive environmental crisis. The fire was extinguished on late Tuesday after burning for 2 weeks. 2 good weeks. Tell me, do you actually think that the marine in that sea survived? Of course not. Take yourself, place yourself in those shellfish you're telling us about. Could you have survived? I don't think so. To bring it home, I don't pretend to know everything. No, I don't pretend to know everything. I just only speak on matters that I know I will win. You have to get what you can with words, because words are free, but the words of an armed man ring that much sweeter. With that, I rest.
Team proposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been asked how could the storm Gati be prevented? Well, what you don't know is that these nature changes you term as, are intensified by climate change. So that's by reducing climate change, we could have at least intensified that storm. Well, on to my conclusion, dangers to the marine environment are as undeniable as the opposition's beauty. But this can be solved with the solutions that I have given out. Ladies and gentlemen, we can compare climate change and the marine environment in Kenya to a paper burning. Let us term this paper as let us term this paper as the marine environment in Kenya. If we light this paper on fire, that fire, let it be termed as the effects of climate change, and the flame itself, climate change. Can't you say that we can still put out the fire, that we can blow it out, place it in water? This can be solved. Nothing is unsolvable. You just need to think hard enough. Thank you.
Team opposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
You have said that the fire can be put out. How? How can the fire be put out when you clearly heard me say it burned for 2 good weeks? 2 weeks. Mark my words. We don't own the seas. We are simply caretakers of them. And it's important that we bequeath a rich and healthy environmental legacy to the future generations by returning to the root cause, human activities. And we will find out that accusing climate change solely, it's a theoretical misconception and fallacy that our friends here are selling us to us. Change your thoughts and you will have changed your world. Your progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Join us, sail us, go with us, hand in hand, to oppose the motion that states climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment in Kenya. And before I leave, I will leave you with this quote: you can change today by starting to believe. Thank you.
Kangaru School, Jacob Maina, you needed to give, as the first speaker, you needed to give us a clear definition of terms. You tried to bring it in the course of your motion, but it never came out so clearly. So it's prudent for you to give those clear definitions, because they set the tempo for your argument. And then you mentioned, you gave one credible example, but I felt you could have gone ahead to give more examples and evidence of research. Like you made statements about Lamu. Where did you get the information from? A source could have made your argument more credible, and you could have scored more marks for mastery of content. And then I could feel some passion in your argument, but we felt that as a first speaker, you could have done more justice to this motion, but you have some potential which, with more practice, it can really come out so well. James, as the second speaker, your role is to rebuttal the points of the first speaker, and then you bring home your points. So that never really came out so well. However, you gave some general statements that we felt equally needed some evidence of research, because one of the ingredients of a good debater is when you convince people that this has happened elsewhere, as shown or proven by this and that, and then you bring your argument closer home, like Kenya therefore is going to be affected if we don't follow, if we don't go, if we don't follow what we are being advised against. So there is some kind of a link that I felt was not really coming out so well, but then you had this kind of convincing, logical argument coming out, but you are a debater with a lot of potential. Sajad, I liked your beginning, the knight in shining armor, that came out well, and of course you went ahead now to give us solutions. You know, as you were giving us solutions, I was looking at the motion. And I was waiting for you to maybe come up with some cause, consequence, and then solution. Or somebody will accuse you of coming up with your own motion. But the solutions you gave were valid. However, that linkage needed to come out clearly, because we are talking about climate change is the single most dangerous threat to the marine environment. So maybe a cause consequence and then a solution kind of argument could have made you stand out.
This is sustainability. This is climate action. And that is the work I do. Behind you, you will see climate action, SDG 13. Nobody mentioned that. And I'm going to mastery of topic. This is nationals, and the expectations are very high, meaning that this being a directly linked topic to sustainability, then your understanding of the SDGs and the linkage to that must come out. I had Makueni girls talk about SDG 14, which is excellent, life below water and so on. But looking at this motion, I believe that you could have come maybe at the closure to an understanding between the teams and actually say yes, and you kept saying it on this side of Kangaru boys. We are not saying that climate change is, the only. We're also saying there are other things, but that was not coming out. What are those other things? Remember, what causes climate change? Is everything natural? The answer is no. So it's both natural and human activities. But also, over time, what have we seen? The most human activities or human, our behavioral changes have actually led to climate change. So I was expecting that even Kangaru boys could have linked, yes, it's not the single most, fine, we are proposing, but we are saying, we are agreeing that there are others, and it's okay to say, yes, indeed, we agree that there are others, and this lead to climate change, therefore leading to acidification and those other scientific terms that you're using. But overall, I think you gave it your best shot, but I think there's more. This is nationals, and I'm speaking to those teams who have not spoken yet. Please give it your very best, especially on coherence and understanding of the topic. Thank you.
And the scores are out. The judges have awarded Kangaru High School with 63%, a round of applause for Kangaru High School. And the judges have also awarded Makueni Girls with 66%, a round of applause for Makueni Girls High School. Therefore, this makes Makueni Girls the winners of these debates. Remember, to get more of our content, follow us on all our social media platforms at The Debate Circle, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and on Threads. And for now, it's bye-bye from us.